Thank you for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And I am Breezy Gipson, entrepreneur.
And we're glad that you're here with us. We really appreciate you tuning in. We've got another fantastic show lined up for you as always. There will be beats by yours truly and music industry news. And you want to tell them about our special guest we got coming back in the virtual building with us?
Oh man, you know, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend. Well, he's not a myth. Let's get that straight. The man, the legend. This gentleman has served just major recording engineers and major recording artists for a number of years. He travels the globe, not just the state. And that's the one and only Mr. Al Burroughs. He'll be in the mix with us. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yes, I can't wait. Very excited to have him back on. Last time he provided a wealth of knowledge and information. So make sure you check that out in our archives. But yeah, we got some more goodness coming your way with him. And without any further ado, because I'm just excited to hop to it. How about you?
Yeah, well, let's give him a teaser. That teaser is Mr. Al Burroughs has been the concert sound production manager for the one and only group The Time for a couple of decades. So hey, you know he's got some info.
For sure. You don't want to miss it. So stick around.
Yep.
with music industry news and, what's been going on with the whole Taylor Swift thing and Ticketmaster. Some of the memes I've seen have been hilarious, but senators have announced hearings on competition in the ticketing market. So, planning to hold congressional hearings to examine the lack of competition in the event ticketing industry. So, of course, the announcement comes after the whole Live Nation and its Ticketmaster subsidiary had canceled plans for the general sale of the concert after so many problems with the pre-sale and scalpers and all that good stuff. So, fans have experienced long delays, glitches, lack of tickets, only to find passes popping up on secondary market sites for, of course, a lot more. But how many times have we seen this happen? It's been a lot of complaining in the past, but hey, at least now they're actually going to have some hearings about this to figure out what to do to regulate the industry better. Because it's basically making everybody suffer, because if fans can't get in to see their favorite performers, then they're not going to want to try to get the tickets, which means that the artist isn't going to be able to survive off of touring income if those numbers keep dwindling. So the government definitely needs to get involved. They should have been involved a long time ago after people started complaining about this with various artists. But hey, Swifties are very, very vocal about their feelings, and they typically kind of have the power to get stuff done. So at least, hey, now they're going to take a look at it. Any thoughts on that, Breezy?
Well, I actually was having lunch last week and just enjoying a meal at a restaurant, and just out of the side of my ear, I just heard the name Taylor Swift. And I'm like, and it was there were two ladies at the next table and one of the ladies was saying, my daughter is so hurt because she wants to see Taylor Swift, and my husband and I have tried everything we can and we just can't get any tickets for her,
Mm-hmm.
And that really just brought it to reality. Of course, I've been reading stories and seeing stuff on TV, but to hear the anguish in a lady's voice, because of her daughter and wanting to go. It's just the fact that, hey, when she said, my husband and I have been trying and we just can't get any tickets anywhere,
Yeah.
Or I think what she said was, at first they were so high. That's what it was. She said, at first they were so high, we couldn't afford that. And then now you can't get anywhere. I'm sitting there eating. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so you got to hear the effects firsthand from somebody that's experiencing it, and that always kind of drives it home a lot harder than when you're just reading it, when you actually know someone or see someone that's affected by it, for sure. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been lots of grumblings in the past, but hey, the Swifties got it done, so kudos to her, hardcore fan base, and her trying to, make sure that she echoes the sentiments that she wants her fans to be able to experience her music, because, what artist doesn't? That's why we do this, for the people that need it. So, yeah, we'll keep you posted as more information comes in about that.
Yeah. What a scenario.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Warner has posted a $1.5 billion revenue for the third quarter, and so it's up 16% year over year, and their recorded music streaming revenues grew 4.7% year over year. So those are some huge numbers, something to kind of pay attention to, because we've been sharing all this as the different record companies kind of share their info. Everything's been on the upward trend. Even some of the things that have taken dips kind of were made up for by the things that have been driving the market, which has typically been streaming. So, of course, that total includes recorded music, music publishing, and quote unquote other activities. And so, yeah, they're following some of the trends that we've been seeing. And it's always kind of good to know what the majors are up to, because then you can model stuff model stuff for your career based on what you're seeing in the broader market. So good news there.
Yeah, good news. Good news amongst the bad.
Exactly. Yeah, and speaking of which, this one is not so good, but ethnic diversity in the music industry has actually dropped since 2020. So if you recall, that's when the music industry is supposed to be making all these changes to do what they could to make sure that everyone was kind of fairly represented, but it's actually taken a nosedive since then. So just over 1/5 of individuals working in the music industry identify as Black, Asian, or minority ethnic, which is down from 22.3% 2 years ago. So, hopefully that's a trend that won't continue and will kind of tick up a little bit. But yeah, one of the other things that the study had uncovered was that there are a little bit more women working in the industry, but not of a minority ethnic group. So, there's room for improvement. As you know that and hear this information, maybe you can do what you can. If you know someone that kind of represents those backgrounds, maybe give them a little boost a little bit. Share their information with your followers, share their stories, retweet, something like that. But yeah, something definitely needs to change and improve there.
Yeah, I would say so. Shouts out to the women who have added to that total. But as Achickwitbeatz has said, let's keep it level and or grow even. And so the ones whose statistics have dropped, let's do all we can to get them back up. And it can be done if we put our minds to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Utopia Music has made layoffs as it's downsized its global workforce, and this even actually hit some high-level executives. So Utopia spokesperson said, like many growth companies in today's macroeconomic environment, Utopia is making some changes to its internal structure to optimize the business. And so they were kind of tight-lipped on some of the other reasoning behind it, but as we've been sharing over these last few weeks, it's a trend that we've been seeing in the broader technology sector, and especially, streaming and all that kind of plays into it. So, hey, it's been a rough economy lately. It's about to get a little bit rougher, so you can expect some adjustments so that these music companies aren't feeling it so badly or poorly as some of the others. But yeah, we'll keep you posted as all these updates keep coming in. And for you yourself, you might want to keep that in mind as you're making your plans and your goals for 2023, with keeping in mind that there is a recession that we're kind of heading into. Maybe you can do what you can to kind of alleviate some stress for the people that you want to be able to support your music, offer discounts, maybe a little bit lower ticketing for events and things of that nature. But hey, it's up to you what you choose to do with the info. We're just here to share it, right?
That's right. Every bit of energy helps. So do something positive.
And InstaFest app is now showing what your own personal music festival bill might look like based on your Spotify listening habits. So if you're a Spotify user, this is something you can take part in. It's a third-party app. At least as far as we know, it's not directly affiliated with Spotify, but yeah, it lets you choose if the festival is based on either your last 4 weeks, last 6 months, or all-time listening habits on the platform. So depending on how extensive your listening history is, you might be able to get up to 3 days worth of a festival offering. So of course, that's just something fun and creative to kind of share with your friends. Tis the season we start getting Spotify Wrapped filling our our feeds. Apple Music's replay, which we got a little blurb about that later. YouTube Music has one. So yeah, this is the time of year that we start to see cool stuff like that. And this is something that's a little bit different than how the other ones do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing this kind of kick up in popularity a bit going forward. So have any thoughts on that?
Well, there's so many options,
Yeah.
There's so many options to choose from. And so, do your due diligence and figure out which option fits you the best and go for it. Don't just sit back and let others make all of the choices for you. And you know, you've got a voice yourself. So, you know, don't squander it away.
Yes, we've shared before about coffee, hip hop, and mental health in Chicago. Now they found a new home in the Lakeview section. So, man, they moved into a 2,200 square foot cafe. It's going to be their main headquarters. And just in case you're not aware of what they do, it's a donation based cafe. So they make the money from, it's a nonprofit that makes the money from selling coffee, but they use those funds to actually connect with people with therapists if they need, trying to normalize therapy and mental health discussions in communities that are underserved, which is typically the hip hop community. So, you know, what they're doing is a really great thing. Now they have more space to do it in, and they're hoping that now in the new facility, they raise enough money to match at least 20 people or families with therapy every month. So they're really doing a great thing. If you're ever in the area, make sure that you check them out. You know, caring and sharing, make sure you support what they're doing, because a lot of people in the industry struggle with mental health, and then especially in the Black community, with it kind of only recently being a little bit more normalized. They're doing what they can to try to change those efforts. And so, yeah, mental health is incredibly important, and what they're doing is just awesome over there. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I really would think. And, you know, I got a sidebar with this. You know, be vocal with your local political representatives about this. A lot of times, you know, there's some opportunities for to do something, and they may not know how extremely strong you feel about cranking up some opportunities for help in that reign. And speaking of that, you know, I took the opportunity. I'm in Georgia. I took the opportunity to try to early vote yesterday. It was a slam dunk. There were far too many people. The lines were too long. Mm-hmm. And this was 10 a.m. Okay, so I left. I went, had some breakfast, came back. No way, you know. And I'm like, and the folks were saying that yesterday the lines were longer than they were the day before. Okay, and so I'm gonna try again today. Okay, so I mean, so wherever you are, if there's some kind of race going on, political race going on, just try to vote and voice your thought by placing a vote, and that will help with a whole lot of different things. You know, we know how that works, putting people in place that can make some changes that can represent you and what your thoughts are. So don't just, you know, let it fall by the wayside. Don't just say, you know, my voice doesn't count, or my vote doesn't count, or I'm not in that. Guess what? It does count. Okay. Well, matter of fact, that shows, as many people were out yesterday, that shows it does count, because the people who were out yesterday, they know that if they show up in mass, that they can make some changes with some things. So there you go. So
yeah. Wow. You know, that's really important to stress, you know, so I'm really glad that you shared your experience with that, especially with the recent violences that we've seen uptick, and how some people try to blame hip hop for it, where the music isn't responsible for it, because the music is reflecting what's going on in the society. So with people facing these types of injustices that you mentioned, one way to get some of these topics to change a little bit is to do your best to change your environment and what's going on around you, which, just like Breezy said, is to express your voice. Vote for some of this stuff. So yeah, a lot of these crimes we're seeing are linked to poverty and, you know, just kind of wanting money because the economy's bad. But like, there's different ways that you can chime in. So you basically can't complain about what you feel like the current state of hip hop is if you're not actually exercising your voice to change the conditions that these people are growing up in and experiencing, and then choosing to talk about it on wax. So yeah, the music itself isn't responsible for it. It's the conditions that people live in. And the best way to affect change is to vote, get out there and exercise your voice. Just like Breezy said, it counts.
Yeah, and a true to life experience that I was at a concert. And it was during voting season, and little young gentleman was on the stage. I mean, they were rushing the stage. He was making a great performance, and he was exuberant and whole 9 yards and everything. And so then when his performance was over, since I was, a stage hand, then here he comes walking by, hey, and I say, hey, congratulated him on his performance and everything. So 4 or 5 minutes later, I say, hey, you all set to voice your opinion and go and vote? He said, I don't vote. All right, and so I'm thinking all of these folks out there that he was in front of performing, and they were really all into him, and just how much of an influence that he could have been to the young folks at that moment, just to urge for them to voice to vote, to voice their opinion like that through voting. Hey, I don't vote. I'm like, get out of here. Yeah, so it comes from within as well. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a good example, this next story, about how you can take the things that you believe in and turn them into something for good. So Hip Hop for the Homeless has been going on for some years now. I'm not even sure how long it's been going on, but now they're expanding to 7 Connecticut venues, and they're going to be running December 1st through the 10th. But the founder, Joey Batts, said that the series isn't just to raise money for the needy, but to unify the state's hip hop communities. So, he's kind of accomplishing multiple things at the same time by taking the money from the shows and donating it to the needy. But since people are coming together from a common cause, that obviously creates more unity. So he's got a plan. It's a great thing that he's doing. And this time, over 40 rappers will perform at the 7 different shows, each one with a different lineup. So they're not even recycling people. They're kind of giving everybody a chance. So, point 1, this is a super positive story that's always great to share. Point 2, there might be a need for something similar to this where you live. And it'll be a good way to be able to network and connect with some of your colleagues and help the less fortunate around you. So what they're doing is really, really good thing, and I'm excited for their growth. How about you?
Yeah, I'm excited for their growth as well. I mean, so, all hands on deck, So, Hey, there you go.
All right, Universal Music Group has acquired a 49% stake in the independent music powerhouse called, I believe it's PS. I'm not sure if you pronounce it that way or Pius, but it's for an undisclosed sum. And they're going to continue to remain independent, with its founders still maintaining the majority control of the company. And Universal Music won't even have a seat on the board. So they're still basically running the ship, but now they've got a nice chunk of backing from Universal. So Sir Lucian Grange, the CEO and chairman of Universal, said, "We share Kenny and Mikkel's passion for developing artists and moving culture, and we recognize that a healthy music ecosystem needs companies like PS who are committed to amplifying the best voices in independent music." So, I mean, excellent statement. You read between the lines. Basically, the majors have been watching the indies and are looking for a way to kind of get part of the change. So it was really smart for the founders to keep the controlling stake of the company, but with Universal kicking in just enough to be, a huge minority stakeholder. Yeah, they're definitely watching what the indies are doing, and they want a piece of it. So what does that mean? You don't have to chase what the major labels are doing, because they're watching the streets to see what we're doing. So, hey, make the music you want to make and just rock on. More power to you.
That's right. That's let your music be your voice.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Let your music be your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And through your music, there's a lot of things that you can do, culturally, socially, business wise. And I can go on with that. So let your music be your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And speak it loudly. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. All right. And as promised, we're talking about some of the whole year-end music wrap-up situation. So in answer to Spotify's Wrap, Apple and YouTube kind of came out a little bit later, but they've made tweaks to some of their year-end reviews. So in review is basically a huge marketing tactic by the companies individually, because they've got people sharing this. So their site is getting way more promo because people are sharing, hey, this is what I listen to on Spotify. This is what I listen to on Apple, And users get to, kind of let people know or flex their skills or like see how eclectic my taste is. So it made sense for Apple and YouTube to kind of join in this. But so they've made some tweaks to supposedly make it better, and YouTube has also done some with their top trends, show what artists you discovered before other people did, which everybody knows it's kind of the ultimate flex. Anybody in the hip hop community is like, hey, I was up on this before you were. So now they're actually letting you do that, and Apple's kind of testing out some of the same things. So both of those are ready to go if you need to check out your numbers or your stats on those. And we're still waiting for the Spotify Wrapped to kind of kick up, but everyone knows you'll get that email and then you'll start seeing it all over your feed for like the next 2 weeks as soon as that happens.
Wow. Hey, stay aware.
Yeah.
Awareness is key, right?
Yep.
There you go.
All right, we're going to take another quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back with our special guests right after this. And for anyone who's just tuning in, you want to tell them who we got coming?
Oh man, the man and the legend, noteworthy musician as well as concert sound production manager for the group The Time, the one and only Al Burroughs.
Yes. All right, stay tuned.
Hey fam, this is Breezy Gipson from the Breeze team. How would you like to see an online platform that brings you people who've already indicated that they're interested in your particular type of business? Whether it's your music you're selling, hip-hop clothing, you got a restaurant or a cafe, or if you're an entrepreneur or agent for a business. Visit me at breeze2cheese.com. That's using the number 2, breeze2cheese.com, or click my bio link on my Instagram profile to see a live demo of how this can help you get more customers and make more money.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen.
Hey, it's another wonderful day, night, wherever you are globally, and this segment of the show, I'm ecstatic because coming back with us is a young man. He's a legend. I mean, he is legendary for his frame of mind, for his knowledge, his awareness, and what he does for a way of living. And so, I can go on and on, but I'm not here to steal his thunder. Without any further ado, the one and only Mr. Legendary Al Burroughs. Mr.
Man.
Burroughs?
If you say legend one more time, you're killing me, man. Oh man, I love what y'all do. Like I said it last time, I'll say it again. I love what y'all do. Keep doing it. Don't never stop. Never ever. That's the only thing Donald Trump got right. Never ever quit. He got that right.
Okay.
Y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. I love it.
We shall. Okay, so now for there's a lot of people who are aware of who you are. Okay, we got a lot of newcomers here, listeners, and so forth. So give them a brief synopsis of who Al Burroughs is, and what you are about on the small scheme and as well as the large scheme in this world today.
Ooh. And we got 30 minutes, right?
20.
I'm long-winded anyway, so I mean, it don't take much. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm really from Chicago. Been in Atlanta since '77. Opened my first recording studio in 1980. Worked with speech. Worked with speech arrest development. Worked with the SOS band, front of house for them for about 16 years. Recently, I've been with Morris Day to the present for I think 5 years now, going on 6, and been on Billboard R&B as a producer writer, top 100. Well, actually made top 40 twice, and that's about it. I can get into the details, but I think that's about it. I mean, I've done some other things, but I would just say that all that would probably come from the fact that I'm just not scared of doing anything. So, other than that, yeah. That's it.
Okay.
I guess that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I already know Achickwitbeatz has got like 49 questions. So hey.
Oh Lord.
Just roll the red carpet out for her and let's get it.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna ask them all at once. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So yeah, for our listeners that are just catching you for the first time, maybe you could let them know like when you realized that you needed music to be a part of your everyday life the way that it is now.
Considering the fact that we didn't have, when I was maybe 9, that would have been 68, 67, 68, somewhere around in there. We didn't have computers. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that. So I would take pencils and I would, beat on oatmeal boxes and pots and pans and anything I could get my hands on that would make noise. And I would beat on that. And then we happened to get a guitar in the house. So I'd sit around and play Papa Was a Rolling Stone for a month or two. And then I think the next one was going to be a Superfly. No, Freddie's Dead. I'm sorry. Yeah. And so, and you just, that was just early on. So yeah, before I was 10, I would say I picked up some stuff. And then by high school, sophomore year in high school, I was in a band, a little high school band. And by the way, on that note, also, I never had anybody, to this day, I've never had anybody buy me a piece of equipment. Everything I own musically, I paid for, including my first guitar and amp, which I was working a paper route. Meant you get up at 3:30 in the morning every day, and you go throw newspapers, and you take that money, and my parents loaned me the money, so I had to pay them back. And the rest is history. But that's what, when you wanted to do something back in the day, now we're not talking about buying $300 Jordans. We're not talking about buying, Beats headphones. We're not talking about just go ahead and list all the stuff down. We didn't have that kind of money, and whatever it is I wanted, because there were 6 kids, 8 people in 2 bedrooms, you had to just go out there and hustle it, so you shovel snow, you rake leaves, you cut lawns, you throw newspapers, and and that was it. That was about 13, 14 years old. So the work ethic is developed early on.
Wow. I go ahead.
Yeah, just absorbing it. Like, yeah, that's a
different world,
Yeah.
And like I said, you didn't have anything assisting you. So, whatever music was made, you had to make it yourself, or you had to get with other musicians. That's why you had 9, 10 people in a band back in the day, because you didn't have computers playing parts. You didn't have tracks, So you had to work that stuff out and actually physically play it. So anyway, I'm trying to keep them short because y'all know me.
Wow, okay, so that last statement that you made, that brought up visions in my brain of when you talk about the larger bands, automatically I'm thinking of brass construction, mass production. There was some back then.
Earth, Wind and Fire, Slave, Confunction.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, but that's how you got things done.
Okay. So now, when you fast forward into the 2000s, especially in 2020s, I mean, the equipment, just like out there in society in these factories or businesses or whatever, the equipment has upgraded so much, has been upgraded. So it actually, it's allowing the musician to go further, but at the same time, it's cutting out some folks.
Yeah, that you saw that with the drum machines, and also that was one of the reasons that I got out of the music business, because, like I said, I started out, you had to play. I had 4 tracks, and you had to play all the parts and all that kind of stuff, and so you graduated. So we saw the whole computer thing coming. It was all part of my business. It affected my business. I remember when Speech with Arrested Development brought his little I think it was HR-16, whatever it was, HB16. It was an Alesis drum machine. He brought it through and said, "Okay, so I recorded all. I've got all my drum parts. All we got to do is just dump them down." And I was like, "Okay." Instead of spending 2 or 3 hours in studio time recording a drum part, he did all that at home. So that was the beginning of the change, and ever since then, the whole thing is to get people not only to be able to do more things at home to save money in the studio, because studio time back then would run you anywhere from $40 to $200 to $250 an hour. So, studio time was, ooh, man, dude, back in the day, and there weren't that many. You didn't have that many. So anyway, the equipment thing and what the industry, what's happened to the industry, both musically, but also from a business perspective, has drastically changed, and I don't necessarily look at change as being good or bad. I just look at it as it is what it is. And what you do with that is up to you.
Okay, well, a couple of minutes ago, you mentioned during your introduction of yourself, you mentioned the word billboard. Okay, now can you share with our listeners what that experience was like? How you got tied in, or what did you do in that capacity? Working with billboard?
I mean, that was the one thing about, I wanted to build a business where I didn't have to market it. And I think I may have mentioned this the last time I was on, that, when people come to your studio and then they record it and then they leave with that product, they don't throw it in a drawer. They want everybody to hear it. So for me, it was free marketing, free promotion, which meant that I didn't have to go out in the street and drum. I didn't have to have a salesperson, because people were constantly, "Hey, I heard the product that you did, blah, 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 blah," So anyway, William Bell came through one time, and
William Bell?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Trying to Love Too, and Born Under a Bad Sign, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so he gave me the chance to do some writing and producing on his album. And we had a song called Headline News, which did very well. We had a guy, the sax player from Careless Whisper. He actually did played sax on the 12-inch version. And that went, I forgot, 30 something. And then he had a female artist that I cut a track on, named Janice Bullock. And the name of the song was Do You Really Love Me? And that also went top 40, so it was for me. And that was the first real thing where I was my first experience with actually releasing product. So I never thought about it till you asked it, but now I'm thinking, okay, yeah. So the first thing you actually recorded went top 40 on Billboard R&B.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
matter of fact, the first 2 projects. Yeah, I never thought about it. I mean, it's 30 years later, or whatever it is. So, but what's interesting about that is, you know, someone actually sampled the second song I was talking about, "Do You Really Love Me?" Someone actually sampled that, and I found that out about 2 years ago. And, you know, at the time, last time I checked, it was maybe 2.5 million views on YouTube. You know, which is one of the reasons why I started doing what I'm doing now, because I realized there is no time limit on music. You write it, you record it. The key is to get it to the public, and let it do what it's going to do. You know, and you know, for a guy to take a song that's, to me today, looking at it, I don't think it was that well recorded, or recorded that well, but he saw something in it, sampled it, and like I said, you know, you're 2.5 million strong.
Wow.
You know, on the views, and that's just on YouTube. We're not talking about the other formats. That's just YouTube.
Man.
So, you know, so that tells you, you know, that you know, don't let things get in the way of what you believe will work. Like, that's why I said that, you know, there's only one Breezy. There's only one, you know, Achickwitbeatz, and you two are both unique, and your work is unique. And I think it's important for people to understand that. But you don't have to worry about competing against anybody else. You compete against yourself. That's it.
Okay, well now I got to jump. What has 2022 done for you? But what do you expect the year 2023, 24 to do? Which doors are you looking to walk through or open up in 2023 and 24?
I mean, you know, I've done this. I've worked with speech in terms of live sound. I've worked with SOS Band for those 16 years, and I've been with Morris. Morris is saying he's going to be hanging up the Stacy's, or he's doing the hang up the Stacy's tour, you know. But it looks like to me he's ramping up. I don't see no behind that performance on what was it, Saturday night, you know, for the Soul Train Awards. I mean, it was incredible, you know. But based on that, you know, if he decides he's going to quit in 23 or 24, whenever it is, I'm hoping that I can bump up one more level. I want to get to a Janet Jackson level or something like that in terms of mixing and experience that whole thing. That's one of my goals, and then also to keep writing and producing and releasing, and you know.
Okay, now I know Achickwitbeatz has got questions, but when you bring up these little tidbits like that, you say you hope to keep writing and producing. So now, where is that coming from? Are you looking for people to contact you, or are you looking for the people that you want to work with?
Oh no, I mean, I just want to keep writing and recording my own stuff. I've been doing other people forever. You know, the only reason I would do other people is just to leverage the number of tracks that I have in the street, from a revenue perspective. But I have so much, you know, you got to consider. November, since we're in November, today's the last day of November. All Over the Map, the first record, was released November of last year. So this past weekend was when we hit 10,000 streams, which may not be a lot to very many people, but that's why I quoted, a large house is built with small bricks. You know, in order to get to 100,000, you got to go through 10.
Right.
You know, so to me, as long as the trend is going into, you know, being a data person, as long as the trend is going in the right direction, I'm happy. So, like I said, I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of music that I want to make, and a lot of things I want to say musically that I haven't been able to say because I've always worked on other people's projects, other people's stuff, and so, yeah. So I mean, I've got a ton of, because I mean, you know, I was looking at Prince. I mean, and one thing that was so hard for people to deal with Prince was that he wrote so many different styles of music: R&B, jazz, gospel, pop, rock, you name it. So it's really hard to pigeonhole him. Well, you know, I grew up, he and I are right about the same age, or RIP, you know, close to the same age. When you're growing up in Minneapolis, I grew up in Chicago, you grow up in those areas, you know, you're not listening to all R&B. You're listening to rock, you're listening to pop, you're listening to this and that. And so I have, and I think I mentioned to you the last time I was here that I was going to do I was also going to be releasing the 4 decades of other stuff that I've done that was never released. So that part has gotten started. So there's some rock stuff that I've got on Spotify from the 90s and 2000s. And so I've got some jazz stuff out there. So my ears are big like that because that's what we grew up on. We grew up on a lot of different styles, you know, whereas today people are like, okay, well, they listen to hip hop, and that's primarily it. You know, people's ears have been pigeonholed, whereas when we were growing up, there was no pigeonhole. Stuff was everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so it reflects in your base. They say that people's listening habits for music develop in their early teens and last a lifetime. So if that's the case, that's where my inspiration is coming from. The fact that we didn't really have a set thing when we were growing up. We were listening to, and you know, think about it. Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire. These acts are considered Americana. They're not just one thing. Stevie Wonder is not just one thing. Earth, Wind and Fire is not just one thing. Everybody listens to these people. Prince was not just Michael Jackson. Think about Whitney, Michael, all these people all about my age. You know, and we were listening to a whole lot of different stuff growing up. So anyway, so that's where my inspiration is coming from, and that's what I'd like to do is to say musically, and also get what I've done in the past that was never released, make sure and get that in the streets, which is, I believe now, was probably a good move. When I said I didn't want my stuff to ride in the back of a drawer, I mean, I want it in the streets where people can hear it. Most of the response I've been getting for the material I've released so far is coming from Europe. You know, and I think we talked about that the last time we got together, that, you know, the internet presents no limits. You know, you got 3 billion people online. You know, why should I look at, okay, let's just say 3.5 billion. So you're looking at roughly 350 million people in the US. That's 10% of the online population, if you just rounded stuff off. That means there's a whole nother 90%. And I've been to Europe. You turn on the radio, one station's playing gospel, they're playing rock, they're playing funk, they're playing classical. I mean, they're just all over the map, which is the name of the album. They're all over the map. You know, so yeah, so that's the thing, is that, you know, I have a lot I want to say. I think that the world, the music world right now is just in a perfect place for me, because I can release something last November and say today that it's being in fairly heavy rotation in Europe, in different countries in Europe, not one place, but in various different countries, and getting some play here in the US. But like I said before, you can't get rich off your friends. You can't get rich off your family. You don't have enough friends. You don't have enough family. So you have to think globally when you're thinking about what you're doing.
Yes, I need to insert an air horn right there. I think more people need to understand that, you know. Like,
yeah, so it's a global marketplace now. So, you know, and I think that, you know, recording some songs and saying, hey, you know, I want my, you know, and I understand friends and family, I get it. But if you're looking at it as a business, you know, and the fact that there are no governors, there's no fence that says my music has to stay in the United States. There's no fence, you know, there's no wall. So why not think globally? if the opportunity is global, why not think that way?
Yes.
And again, you just never know, you know. I mean, because I had a couple of checks come in. It was like $75 each, past 2 quarters, for one of those songs that I mentioned that was released in '85. So that was almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I'm like, okay, all right, something I did 40 years ago that I've already gotten paid for many, 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 many times, and I'm still getting $75 checks, and it was for airplay that was in South Africa.
Well, you, as you notice, for the past few minutes, I haven't said anything because I'm just sitting back absorbing all of the great things that you're talking about, and I'm going to continue to sit back, and I'm not going to say anything else.
Well, I'm just trying to, just put it out there. I believe in people. I believe in opportunities. I believe that there are no limits, and anything I can do to motivate people to live their dreams and go for what they want, go for the goal. I'm going to say it. And I had somebody say, nobody's really calling you and saying, hey, congrats on the album and all that. I said, well, that's not anything I'm really worried about. I'm trying to help, if a chick with beats put something out, I'm like, hey, this is great, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you your likes, comments when I can, and be supportive. To me, I get more value out of that than, that I would prefer to give compliments. I'm not really a person who really needs to receive compliments. That doesn't float my boat. So, I guess I'm kind of, the music business is good for me that way.
That's what's up. I can't believe how fast this time flew by. I'm mad about it.
I'm mad too.
That's funny. Oh boy. I mean, there's and I think that's a very good point, what you just said, how fast that 30 minutes went by, and I think one of the things that I'm really focusing on is understanding how fast my 63 years has gone by. So I'm right now I'm running against the clock right now. Because I've already lost friends. I mean, there are people that are checking out every day, and that had nothing to do with gun violence. That's just people just getting sick and dying. So I'm sick at my 63 years. I don't know how many I have left. I don't have time to waste. So that's another reason why I tell people, go get it now. There's nothing's promised.
Yeah.
Time waits for no man or woman.
Yeah. That's a good lesson to know, because we don't know how much time we have.
No.
So we all racing against the proverbial clock. So why not get it out there? Yeah, exactly. And I'll say this, in closing or whatever, is that one of the things that I've noticed is that we're getting a lot of my age group is doing a lot of retrospective looking. And for me, if I'm looking backwards, I'm not looking forward. If I'm looking backwards, I'm not moving forwards, because you can't look backwards and move forward. It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
And so I'm trying to make sure that, when I tell you, okay, I did this, I did that, I did this, I mean, I should be able to say that all of that in about less than a couple of minutes, because that's not really where my focus is. My focus is like, man, if I've got 10 years left, man, it needs to be the best 10 years of my life, which means I got to be looking forward every day, every minute, every second. And I'm not saying I haven't done some things in the past, but you can be looking backwards and you just stop, I don't want to stop living,
Yeah.
So keep looking forward. There's a lot there, especially now with Breezy, what you brought up about the computers and stuff. I mean, man, the shackles are off.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Listeners from all around the globe, you have had a treat. You've had a treat from the one and only legendary Al Burroughs.
There you go.
Mr. Burroughs. I mean, you know what? You ought to title an album Mr. Burroughs, so
Okay.
I don't say that loosely either. So
like Quincy Jones did The Dude. I just always liked that album. That was a great album. But yeah, I got to come back and hang with y'all more often. I'm gonna start crashing y'all's show.
Please do.
Yeah.
You can't crash where you're welcome though, but yeah. anytime.
See, now you need to write that song. If you don't write it, then I'm gonna write it, and then you just be mad.
Yep.
Where do you want people to follow you at before we get out of here?
You can follow me at Al Burroughs, page 1, page 2. Those two are about full. I'm about to do a page 3 on Facebook. And then StickyBeatz.com. That's STICKEE BEATZ. We're on all the formats. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Pandora. You name it, we're there. So you find Sticky Beatz music everywhere. So and again, I mean, I'm working on the new album. Working on that right now. It's going to be called Box of Chocolates. It's all about the ladies. And I'm looking. You asked me about getting some help. One of the things I'm looking for is I'm trying to get some pictures of, because I want the album cover is going to have a lot of different ladies from different ethnicities, and I'm having a hard time finding Asian, South Pacific, that type of thing. So I guess I have to put that on Facebook. But yeah, but that I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be all about the ladies.
Entertainers or just stock photos?
No, just people. I just need some pictures for the album cover.
We've got one. We've got one.
Oh, but there you go.
Talk about it.
There you go. Yeah. So the first cut I'm working on right now is called Sexy Ninja. And,
all right.
Yeah, the woman, boy, she just put it on him, boy. You didn't see it coming.
Well, Mr. Burroughs, you have done it again, and we are just overjoyed with the time that you have spent with our listeners and us today. And I'm just completely from a whole different, unexpected realm, and you've done it again. So we thank you immensely.
Dude, y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, I mean, I think that what you're doing is great. I always will, and all you got to do is dial half my numbers, and I'm there.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
lady. Yes, the one and only legendary Al Burroughs.
All right, and that's a wrap for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We thank you for joining us and tuning in. And, we really love doing this with you every week. Super huge shout outs to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Denver, Colorado. And I'm just, it's been a great show. It was a great time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, loved it, learned a lot, absorbed. So I hope you did too.
Yes. Till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.